Welcome back to the Grit Gym Show, guys. It's January 16th, 2018. We're halfway through 2018. Keep pushing towards your goals. Whatever your resolution is, do not think that you have an entire year. Don't treat it like you have an entire year. Put that plan together and make it happen. Today we're talking about fairness. You know, what is fair? Rachel and I, we were talking a lot about this before, all morning, actually. And, like, what is fair? In, like, my position, with everything that's going on right now, everything's got to be equal. Everything's got to be fair. That's not fair. This and that. I think like we got to step back and we got to look at this thing. Like, it's not reality. There's no such thing as fair. It's not a real thing. Whether you're looking at biology, any sort of nature type, like genetics, or you're looking at nurture, doesn't matter. It is not fair. And if you think that if those three words come out of your mouth, it's not fair. The thing that I would like to ask anybody who says that is in relation to what? It's not fair that you're bringing the money that you're bringing in, or the height that you are, or the athleticism that you are. It's not fair that you lost the game. It's not fair that you have the body type. Yeah. In relation to what? What's your take? I totally just almost went into my whole thing.
I don't know. I think we see it, the topic kind of the same, but we in different areas. You're a lot more aggressive than I am, so
no shit.
So we're just kind of bringing it all together in one idea.
Yeah. So really, the purpose of this show, especially with Rachel, is to see people that have two different perspectives. I think Rachel and I have very much two different perspectives, even if we come to similar conclusions sometimes on a lot of things. So what do you think of when you hear people say that's not fair? I know you don't want to make this political, but there's so much crap out there. It's hard not to make the fairness thing political. What's her name? Meryl Streep or whatever her name is.
Yeah.
Is that her name, Meryl Streep?
Yeah.
Is it really? But anyway, she gets up there and it's not fair. It's just lady, shut up.
Well, I can't. I can't really say. You don't know what she's talking about.
Her voice just drives me crazy. It always has. It has nothing to do with her political anything. Her voice just drives me crazy.
Preconceived, I hate Meryl Streep.
Her, so. And I don't hate her, but I remember watching Mystic River, which came out in 1994, and I was like, she is a terrible actress. I hope she's never in any movie ever again. She ruined that.
I like her.
I know a lot of people like her. I just never have. But.
Yeah, I think she's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But that's just one thing that we don't.
But she talks about fairness.
He's referring to the wage gap.
And
how women are paid less than men typically.
I don't know.
I think obviously it's better and there's an effort to
we just
change
frame that me as a huge asshole.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
we'll go into more
that's
of that.
what she's talking about when she's saying it's not fair.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything against that. You don't hate her because of that.
No, not at all.
You're not disagreeing with her necessarily. You're just saying this is what needs to happen for those women that are not getting fair pay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That way, right now, it's getting better. Just because of what?
I don't know if it's getting better. I don't know what the history, what the actual current day reality is. I don't know any numbers. I've done very little research on the wage gap. The only most recent thing is the Mark Wahlberg and that other actress, and it just seems really silly. He got paid more because he's a bigger name. He brings more dollars in.
And that can always be argued. It can always be argued,
and that's one.
Who did more work or who is more valued.
Yeah. And that's only one scenario, so it's not really a very good one to go off of. But anyway, what do you think of fairness? Is anything fair?
I remember all growing up, my sister, everything had to be exactly the same. Everything had to be fair. We had the same Christmas presents every single year, or they were shared because one of us would get jealous. So it was that's in a family situation. But for someone saying it's not fair because I'm not an NBA player and I worked more, well, yeah, that's if you worked harder and you just don't have the height, then you can't really do anything about that. You can work harder and you could maybe become an NBA player, but they're always going to be taller than you, and that's just the reality that you have to live with. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck sitting there comparing yourself to someone that...
Yeah, and then you get into that jealousy thing, like where you're just... Jealousy is just the fear of not being enough, right?
Exactly.
Like you're scared that you're not enough, so you lash out at this other person, or you feel jealous, of that. I think is what you had isn't enough. Like you're afraid that that's not enough, and I think that's what you're getting into. And that it's not fair. You're feeding into that fear of not being enough, and you're positioning yourself as the victim. Which, like, how's that helping anybody?
It's not a fun place to be in. That's for sure.
Yeah, self-victimization doesn't help anything.
It's sticking yourself into that mindset.
And then you have no solution. If you're the victim, if you're putting yourself in the victim category, then all of a sudden what happens?
You're never going to be happy.
You're never going to be happy. You're going to be a victim in your relationships. You're going to be a victim at work. You're going to be a victim of your workouts. You're going to be a victim of,
You're constantly seeking that because it's a safe place, so that it's a justification. Like,
it wasn't fair.
Like,
yeah.
You don't want to like just bash that because it's a natural thing. Everybody's grows up like in a family. Like, say you're a twin, you're always going to be comparing. Like, it's kind of hard not to compare yourself to somebody that's exactly like you. I'm saying, like, in a family situation, Elena was constantly comparing. My sister was constantly comparing what we each had.
Sure.
In the situation.
But it's a little silly. Like on some level, you're a little taller than Elena. Should you be wearing the same pants?
No.
You're a little older than
But
Elena.
I'm saying
should you be...
It's understandable to compare yourself to other people and see what other
It's
people
understandable,
have.
but I don't know if it's reasonable.
But it's the mindset that you need to become a victim in that is not
That's what I mean. Like,
reasonable.
I don't think it's reasonable. I think it's completely understandable to get jealous. I think it's completely understandable to get afraid. I think it's completely understandable to be angry, anxious, worried, embarrassed. I think it's completely understandable to play the victim thing. But it's not responsible. It's not reasonable. It's just...
It's not a fun place to be, and it's not a fun... People around you don't really like it as well. Like, if I had a friend that, I remember around junior high, and we would watch movies, and we'd read magazines, and it was so hard to, like, sit there and be next to her because what she would do is she would pick out the prettiest one or, like... the most good-looking person in the movie, and she'd just bash them. And be like, she probably does this and this and this, and or she's probably not happy, and like, look, I see a little bit of fat on her, and I'm just like, why do you even care? Like, why can't you just say this person is very good-looking? Just because she has a little bit of fat doesn't mean that she's not good-looking. I could totally see the jealousy, and I mean, we were young, so it kind of made sense. Like, it's right around that age where you start to compare yourself to other girls, and you start to compare yourself to other people and boys and whatever. But she started a habit of like not liking herself. I could
that's
see
the
it.
thing. Like,
it was like
that's the hater mentality, right? It's the same thing. Like it's not fair is the same thing as being a hater. The victimization is the same thing as being a hater. Like
you're hating yourself. The hater's hating themselves.
Yeah.
It's not a fun
The hater
place
is
to
really
be.
an approver of the person that they like. That girl wishes that she could look like or be like or something like, but if she's afraid that she's not enough to do and be what those people that she was hating were, what can she do?
Yeah, who hates like a person that's like 700 pounds and sitting on their couch? Nobody's hating that person because they're not envious of that person. They're trying to find flaws in people that they look up to.
Well, somebody might. But for instance, there's Tony Robbins has this quote that I always thought was really good. But he says like Tony Robbins, whatever you think of him, I don't really care. Like or don't like him. I think I'm kind of neutral on him. Like I think he has some really good stuff, and I think some of his stuff kind of silly. But he has this quote where he talks about there's two ways to have the tallest building in town. Either you can build yours up and you can make yours, you can keep building and building and building your building, or you can go around and knock everybody else's down. And I think most people have chosen to do the knock down houses because they get that fear of not being enough. They put themselves in the victim category.
It's easier to do that too for some people.
Yeah, I think that's what you're taught. I think that's kind of what you're taught and right now the best way to get attention right now is to play the victim role and then position someone else and try your best to make them as guilty as possible, even though they're not guilty, even though They should not feel any guilt for you putting yourself in that victim category. And it's a really kind of a sick game that we're playing, and we're making socially acceptable.
And it's just, I mean, it's not. Everybody does it in some way, whether they mean to or not. But
well, sure, everybody's got an inner dark side, a shadow side,
yeah.
like the internal rascal, you know. Like
but when you know better, you do better.
But hopefully. If you know that about yourself, everybody has a dark side, right? That's the yin-yang sort of principle. So, like, if you have that dark side and you can acknowledge that dark side, now you can become aware of that dark side, so that you can, so that if that side comes out, now you can do
Shift
something.
Your mindset.
But most people never look at it. They're so terrified of even saying that they have that dark side that they never look at it. They think like, no, I'm the good guy in the story. Now I've been like, I always thought I was the good guy in the story, but I look back at my history, and when I became consciously aware of this and started exploring my dark side, and my shadow side, whatever you want to call it, all of a sudden it became very clear. Like in my past, I was not always the good guy, even though I was full of great intentions. I was not always the good guy.
Well, some people get comfortable being the bad guy, if you know what I mean.
But that
like,
girl,
once you're up there, it's like you're the alpha. You're just trying to knock everybody down so they can't get to your level.
Yeah.
So in that way, you're not comparing yourself. Comparing yourself to
that's
others.
a really good example to use the alpha, because a lot of people think that like males are all going for this like alpha male, or females are going for this alpha female position, and really the alpha position is only held in guerrilla groups. Alpha position is only held for like maybe a few days. It's just for the young that are basically doing a glorified pissing match. And there's a position called the Omega position that is more like the chief of a Native American tribe. Like the chief wasn't winning any of the fighting matches, right? He was the wise old man in town that was the Omega male, the Omega female. I think that's what really people should be.
Omega female. Okay.
Yeah, they're not comparing themselves to others. They're very conscious of what's going on inside their lives. But.
Well, and also you're just kind of wasting your time. You're not going to be present if you're sitting there comparing yourself to others.
Yeah.
It can be good though too. You can use it as motivation, but
but then you're getting into. I went down that road where you work out angry.
Certain extent.
Yeah, you do everything angry, or you do everything based on. That's a dangerous little.
Well, yeah, you don't want to get caught up in that. You don't.
That's not a good danger. That's a bad danger.
Dwelling and like.
The most conscious people are the most dangerous people. Those are the ones that scare the shit out of everybody. The ones that are the most present. Everybody else gets really scared around those people. They're like, oh, like I'm intimidating. Oh,
yeah, but that's not easy.
Because they're a powerful person.
I mean, it's not easy to become present in everything. It's easy to kind of not be present.
Yeah, it's super hard. What about the group think and all these kind of? So we're talking about victimization and fairness, and that fairness isn't real. Like some people are like, no, fairness is real. Fairness, and in your mind, I get that that's absolutely true, even though it's totally silly. But it's just not a reality. Like look at anything.
It can't be a reality.
No, and people try, and I think people are trying to like when I get into discussions and people take this really personal, they're going at because like a tall, white, dark male, straight, middle class. I don't know, isn't supposed to be able to talk about these things. But if you get down to like, you start stripping away this, and you start, you're like, okay, well, I can't talk about it, but if you're female, you can talk about it. Now we strip that back, and we go like female. What about a black female? Now she can talk. Now she has more power, or like to talk about these sort of things, or a black female, a woman that's black that's gay, or a woman that's black, and then you go down into another level, and you're like a woman that's black, that's gay, that's poor, and then you go to another level, a woman that's black, that's gay, that's poor, it's also a dwarf, little person. A little person. But you get what I mean? You just keep scaling that back, and eventually you get to the individual.
Yeah.
And so we're all a bunch of individuals, and there's no fairness between individuals.
There's a reason why everybody's different.
And it makes the world, I think anyway, a better place in my opinion.
If everybody was the same and everything was fair, what would be so great about that?
It'd be so boring. We'd never have anything to talk about. We'd just all sit around and be able to pat each other's backs and tell everybody how great they are. We'd be like, you're just like me. You're just like me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be awful. It'd be so boring. But
I don't know. It can't kind of being in that mindset constantly is just like, it's negative. It's not a positive.
It doesn't allow you to go anywhere. It puts an obstacle in front of you that you find impossible to overcome, and I don't think that that's an impossible obstacle.
It's not impossible.
No.
Because, I mean, it's a good thing to look and see what else is out there and not just stay in the norm, but it's also a bad thing when you kind of make yourself feel bad about it constantly.
Yeah.
If you keep saying it's not fair, it's not fair, it's not fair, then where does that take you?
I think you're ingraining that belief. I think on some level
it becomes your truth.
It must feel really good, like on some level, to do that. It's not fair.
Well, it's a peace of mind. It kind of makes you content because you're just like, okay.
You mean content with being like sad, like pathetic?
Well, it's a reason. It's a reason why. It helps you kind of break it down and give yourself a reason to not go out and do whatever you want to do to the person that you're comparing yourself to.
And is that
like, well, I'm a black poor little person who's a woman who's gay. That's why I can't do what this person is doing. You know what I mean? You're putting yourself in that label, and you're giving yourself a reason why that's not possible.
And that's super sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, if anything, like anything like that I put out there, like sometimes it sounds kind of like a jerk, but
yeah, you do.
Yeah, it's okay. But like that person, that poor
but
black woman,
you have good
little person,
intentions when you're pointing it out.
I would want her to go out and make whatever she wants to do in life, make a ton of money, get in really great shape, have a bunch of followers on social media, whatever it is, you know what I mean, that she wants to do.
Whatever that makes her unique. That's
like
what
the
people
greatest
love
thing
about her.
like the greatest thing that I think she can do is not go complain to the government, not go complain about wage gap, not go complain about anything. I think the greatest thing that she can do is make herself the greatest success story of all.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yep.
Go to work.
Instead of somebody doing it for you.
Yeah, instead of just playing the victim role, but actually saying like, no, let's roll.
Crying about it.
Let's do this.
Typing about it on like hating on someone else's page.
Yeah, like you're just a rich asshole that has no idea where. And I don't like and I'm not a rich asshole because I'm not rich. You can call me an asshole all you want, but that girl like nobody know like I just said, like everybody's an individual. Like when people are like, you don't know my plight. You're right, I don't.
Nobody does.
You can be a straight white tall male that owns a gym, and I guarantee you, I do not know your situation. I don't. You don't know. You don't even know. Like nobody knows me better than her. I guarantee you, and I guarantee you that she doesn't. She doesn't know what it's like to be Adam.
No.
And I don't know what it's like to be Rachel. You don't know what it's like to be anybody else.
That would be a crazy place to be.
If we just switched. So many jokes come into mind.
Like a Freaky Friday.
Isn't that the one with Lindsay Lohan and what's her name?
Well, originally,
the girl from Halloween.
That's the second one. Oh, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yes, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, but there's an original one way back in the day with Jodie Foster. She did the first Freaky Friday.
Is she the young?
Yeah, she's the daughter.
Who's the mom?
It was like in the 70s.
Who's the mom?
Some lady who's probably not alive anymore. But
I suppose
they switch places, and then they kind of get.
Jodie Foster's probably
even
like
when
in
you
her
switch
50s now,
places,
60s now.
You won't be able to like fully understand them, but it's a
you can do. I do think that you can do your best to do that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like when people are like, "You don't know," it's like, "Yeah, no shit, I don't. I don't. I have no idea, and I never will."
Mm-hmm.
But I can tell you that you sitting there and bitching and whining your moan about it isn't going to do anything about it.
Nope, probably not.
I don't think that we've complained on the show yet, have we? Which brings me. What about the word should? I don't know about you, but I find the word should to be one of these like red flag words. It shouldn't be this way. I should go work out. Like should is one of those very, very red flag words. And anytime that it's coming up, I'm like, I don't know. Well, do it or don't. Don't say I should. Like I should go work out. Well, what did that mean? What did that do in your head? What went actually through your head? Probably. It might have. It's probably guilt. Like I should go work out. Well, you're obviously not taking the action that you want to take to have what you want in your life. So I should go work out. Go work out. It shouldn't be that way. Well, make it that way in your own life. Like,
Well, then
women should get paid just as much as men. Then go out and get it. Negotiate your price. There's a, I know that girl, she used to work at the gym long time ago, or work out at the gym long time ago, and I think she's moved away since. And she got paid $80,000 a year to walk into her job. 2 years later, her successor that came in got paid $96,000, and she thought that was the worst thing ever. I was like, yeah, that does kind of suck. You know, like, I mean, if it were me, I would want to be getting paid $96,000 a year instead of $80,000. You know, like, duh. And she found out later on the entirety of the reason had nothing to do with that one was, he was a male, by the way, their successor.
Okay.
He got paid $16,000 more. At first glance, it's like...
that's kind of shitty.
Yeah, and it is. It is kind of shitty. It does kind of suck for her. 100% of the reason was that she did not negotiate her pay. They offered her $80,000. She took $80,000. They offered him $80,000, and he said that he wanted more. So he got more.
Well, good for him.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is go out and demand it. Make yourself, like one of the things I think people underestimate is making yourself, if you have a job, make yourself irreplaceable. Make yourself absolutely irreplaceable. The best way to do that is to bring money into your business. That way, yeah, if you make 100% of the money in your business, like right now at Great Gym, I think there's been like 4 packages ever processed that weren't processed by me. Like if someone came in and signed up 100% of the people next year, they get to write their own paycheck, whatever they want. When you're the person that brings in all the business, or you provide all the value to that business, you get to write your own paycheck. Make yourself irreplaceable. But it's still on an individual level. Mm-hmm. It's powerful.
I agree. So.
But yeah, that was a weird way of going through the should stuff. I just think should is one of those, like, if you start using the word should.
What do you say instead?
I just don't use it.
But, okay, so.
Or I try not to. Anytime it does pop out of my mouth, I'm like, ooh, I start analyzing that sentence.
So how
shouldn't be that way.
Describe it then instead of should.
Can you give me an example?
I'm just saying.
Like
I should go to the gym. How would you word that?
I wouldn't word it. I'd get my ass up and go to the gym.
Like, I'm going to the gym? Or...
Yeah. I should go to the gym right now. Don't take the time to say it. Get up, put on your clothes, walk out the door. The more time that you give yourself, the more that fear feeds on time.
Contemplation.
Yeah, like if you're scared of something, what do you end up doing? You go grab a cup of coffee, and then you're like, well, I'm going to eat something first. And then I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to do that. Oh, I'll do that here in like 20 minutes after I'm done with this article. Somebody texted me. I'm going to check this text. Mm-hmm. You just keep on like lengthening out time, and pretty soon it's midnight and you never went. Now, don't even say should. There shouldn't be a wage cap. Okay, well, if I was a female, what can I do? I'm not going to go march on Washington. I'm going to go to my boss, and I'm going to, or I'm going to go start a business, or I'm going to, negotiate my price. I'm going to I'm going to be the statistic that jumps it back up.
Like,
I'm going to take personal responsibility.
Minus all that, you're not saying like it's right or it's okay for there to be a wage gap. You're saying like,
not at all,
because it could be flipped around. It doesn't have to do with the gender at all. It could be a straight man and a gay man.
I personally think
you're saying
it's ridiculous to say that.
You're saying that.
Yes.
You're saying that it's not about that. It's about
right.
creating yourself to be the person that gets the more pay, or negotiates it, or doesn't let yourself be down about getting less money. Mm-hmm. If you're not making as much money, you're not putting yourself out there as much and demanding it, or being knowledgeable, or more experienced. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it could have been a thing. Like, I think it was a thing for a very long time.
Oh,
now it's like...
To a certain extent, I mean...
I think it was a thing for a while.
Like, historically, it sounds like... I wasn't there, I don't know, but historically it sounds like women were pushed more towards being teachers and secretaries, and men were pushed more towards a little bit higher paying jobs like engineers and So it sounds like that was kind of a thing, but like those are kind of apples and oranges. So it's not kind of a societal norm that turned into that led to now that I don't know if it's like something that you can be like, it's their fault, they're bad people, you men are just terrible monsters. And I do think
like a prejudice against
like,
them having a job
there's been
pays more.
Yeah, I think there's been really bad things. Like personally, like I don't know if I believe in right and wrong or bad and good, but I think that there's definitely some things that women took the brunt of that they did not deserve, and I definitely think that women had way more power. Or I definitely think that women of the past, I don't think we give them any credit for how much power they did have. I think they led from afar. I think they kind of. I think that men took this like front row. I'm the man. I do, you know, and women kind of sat behind the scenes and told them what to do.
Yeah.
I think historically women had more power than we let on. I refuse to think that Eleanor Roosevelt had no power, or that my mom had less power than my dad, or you know, if my mom's powerful.
It was just a perception.
Yeah. Go with that. What's your perception thing?
It's not reality, it's perception.
Fairness.
So in reality, these women probably were the ones who ran the household, but perception would say the man ran the household, he brought in the money, and he made all the rules. But really, like, I'm sure a lot of households were not based on that.
I think
without the wife being at home and taking care of the kids and feeding everyone and
disciplining their children.
Like you only saw one side of the story.
Like I definitely think that there was a difference in social norm than now. Like, and I don't think it was necessarily a good or a bad thing that women. It was very clear. Like this is kind of what was expected. Like the woman stays home and takes care of the kid, and it's kind of expected that the man goes out and farms the land, you know, or whatever. You know, like I don't think that was necessarily good or bad, unless that's something that you really hated. And but yeah, I think it's a lot of it's just based on perception. Like, was that good? Was that bad? Are you oppressed? Are you not oppressed? If you are oppressed, is this an obstacle that you cannot?
It was just a tradition that people just kind of stuck themselves into. Like, it was very normal for the wife to stay at home and the man to make the money.
Yeah,
whether
maybe
the
that's the best
woman
way to
was
say it.
smarter or more educated or more knowledgeable or more talented, it was just normal, and that's what the reality was. Is just what people were used to, and it's kind of scary for it to be anything other than that. Yeah. So it's a little harder for people to wrap their head around. I mean, they got a head. The men had a head start. Like, they were the norm to be the breadwinner. Yeah,
it was just kind of like the given. It was just like, this is what you do.
So when women started taking their jobs and demanding more pay, it was kind of like, what? This is
and they
normal?
Should have. Like, that's one of the things, like
fine.
Fighting immigration because you're afraid that some immigrant is going to take your job. Well, you better start. Maybe you should get to work.
Get to work.
Yeah. If someone's going to take your job, you better step up.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of it's based on perception. Like good, bad, that's perception. There's a certain amount of things that are repeatable scientific reality that you're just not going to get away from. And I don't think that you're going to get away from like the reality that life isn't fair. Some people are going to start out with a different set of genetics. Some people are going to start out with
It'll always be brought up. But, I mean, if you want to get anywhere and you don't want to waste your time, sitting and comparing yourself is not the way to break the cycle.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't know. Everything can't be fair.
No.
There's no way.
And obstacles are not a bad thing. Like this idea that, I'm a woman, so there's no way that I can go as far as a man because he's got such a head start. You might have a little bit more of an obstacle than he had, but think of how much better it's going to feel because you did.
Okay.
Oh my God. All right. So let's sum it up.
Yeah. So, fairness is just Oops, sorry.
I think it's a bullshit way that people let things get in their own way. It's not fair.
It's not fair to yourself to compare.
I think that's the thing. Yeah. How far are you going to rhyme that out?
And that's it.
It's not fair to compare.
All right.
Rachel Park, quoted.
It's not fair to yourself to compare yourself to everyone else.
Yeah.
You can do it in a positive way, but try to stay away from the negatives.
Yeah.
Comparing yourself to someone else's body type or how much
And you
money
might
they
even
make and their house and
You might
their
even
car
want to.
is just not.
Sorry, I'm interrupting you. Go ahead.
It's not productive. It's
And-
not going to get you anywhere except dwelling in that moment. Like, you're wasting your time when you're sitting there typing on the computer and bashing someone on Twitter. Like, why?
I love the haters. The haters are my favorite. I got one the other day that clearly the guy was a chiropractor, and it was about exercise, and clearly he just doesn't understand what was going on. He just couldn't see what was going on. He was like, how does that do this and that and that? And I was like, I don't even know how to explain to you if you can't see it.
Maybe he's seeking understanding.
I asked him.
And that's fine.
I asked him, well, is this a challenge? Is this out of challenge? Is this out of curiosity? Or like, is this because you really want to know?
So maybe he wasn't being a hater. Maybe he was just
he was being
asking a question.
No, it became very clear because we continued the conversation for long enough to find out.
Well, and then you're just gonna like disagree on something.
No, it's a challenge. So like, it was a challenge. So I was like, well, what do you see? Because I wanted to get on some kind of common ground.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe in that, I don't know what it was being talked about, but maybe there's more than one answer. Maybe
Yeah, there totally is.
There's not like a answer.
It was just a perfect scenario of if I knock your house down, I'm taller. Like, no, your house is still the same size. You just tried to knock me down because you're jealous. Yeah, for whatever reason. But no, I think some of the stuff like comparative or like in a cooperative setting, obviously not good to compare, like not productive to compare because there's not a win-win there. There's only a lose-lose there. In a competitive setting, maybe it is okay. Like this person's doing this person this. I want to beat them, so I've got to up mine. But that's what I'm saying there is I think that the more you focus on you and making your success story real, then the more you inspire those around you to do the same. So if you're a poor female, black, gay, little person, is that what I said before? Anyway, like let's say you're like all of these groups, like the best thing so you got all these obstacles in front of you, the best thing that you can do is be a success. Then you inspire all these other people.
Yep. All right, slap the like in the show.
Rachel's ready to be done.
Yeah.
What is Joanne says, be a good daisy. Bloom where you are planted.
Oh, that's nice.
The writer, of course, she says something good like that.
A daisy?
What if you're not a daisy? What do you want to be?
Me.
Rachel. All right, thanks for being here, guys. Really appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow. We have an interview tomorrow. Really excited for it. 12:30. Please hit the like button, share it out, tell everybody that you know. Really appreciate you watching. And if you like this, if you like what we're putting out, if you like the message that we're putting out, the more that you share, the more that you comment, the more that you like, the more that Facebook sends it out to everybody else. So please help support the message. And also, anytime if you have more questions, this is one of the things I try to say on social media the other day. If you have more questions, I love getting into really deep discussions on stuff that maybe you don't feel comfortable putting into the comment section below. Throw them into the direct messages. With the direct messages, we get to kind of talk and
like have an intimate conversation.
Yeah, in a space that you can really be safe. Like I'm not gonna if you are. I don't know. Think of like the most judged group. Like you're a KKK member that really crazy extreme. Like you have this extreme viewpoint. Like I'm still like you're safe to talk.
Adam will like that even more because he can kind of get into it.
Yeah, like we can talk about things that are definitely not the norm. Like just because someone thinks differently than me doesn't mean that I'm going to judge them for how they think. I think it's
you invite that.
I do. I think it's interesting. But anyway, thanks for being here, guys. I really appreciate it. We will be back tomorrow.
Not me.